Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Dana. I am a homeschooling mama of 4 little ones, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple different things, but the primary focus of the video is showing you guys a week's worth of lessons using the McGuffy readers. I have been loving using these, so I'm going to give you a whole week's worth of lessons, kind of the lessons I have written down on a day-to-day basis, what that looks like for us, how we incorporate the McGuffies into our home, and honestly how we're kind of using that as my primary language arts curriculum for my first grader. We have been loving it. We love the freedom and the flexibility, and we love how sound and thorough it is. It's beautiful, it's wholesome, and we've been loving it. So we're going to talk about that today. And then at the end of the video, I thought I would just chat a little bit about kind of how our December has been going, what our homeschool has been looking like, specifically around the Christmas season here. And yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I am going to go ahead and grab the camera and we're going to turn it around because I do want to give you an in-depth look at kind of what our weeks have been looking like using the McGuffy readers. Alright, so this is everything that we are currently using for my first graders language arts. If you want to know kind of the reasoning why we switched to this whole package in general, I will have that video linked down below when I was talking about making a switch to the McGuffy readers and kind of why we made that switch. But today I wanted to show you again an entire week's worth of lessons, what that looks like for us, how long it takes us, the things that we're covering, and just all those little missing pieces that I did not talk about in my last video. So of course we have our magnifying glass. I talked about this in my last video. I'm just going to briefly run down what we use it for, but I use this for my child. First of all, we use it as a paperweight because these are actual books. They don't stay open by themselves. So we use this as a paperweight when we're doing copy work or when we're doing the actual reading. It's just really handy. And then my daughter also uses this to study her actual artwork. So what I wanted to do today is give you a look at Monday through Friday, what that looks for us using the McGuffy readers, all the different parts of language arts that we incorporate by using the readers, and just kind of what my simple lesson plans look like. I know you can probably not read this because it's not very neat, but I just have written down my main priorities for working with my first grader. The wonderful thing about using the McGuffies is you can really cater to what your child is needing help with. You can pick up where they are needing help with. So at the very beginning, if this is where their reading level is, you can start there, or if they're reading this part here, you can start here. And I do love that you can jump in wherever you want or wherever your child is needing, because they are non-consumable, which means you can use them pretty much forever, which is great. So you do have the ability to jump in really wherever your child is feeling comfortable. So what I wanted to show you today is a whole week. So if you were coming along with this for our homeschool, this is what our days would look like using these. So day 1, so Monday morning, we would find the lesson that we're ready for. So let's go. Let's see here, let me go back here a little bit. All right, so Monday morning, this is what we do. We would read the lesson. So the lesson, a lot of them will start with spelling words. A lot of them don't. It depends. So we read the lesson. She will dictate the words. I'll have her dictate the words to me, and we'll see which words she needs help spelling. If she does need help with the spelling, and there will always be a few words that we need help learning and mastering, I will then open our lesson book again first thing Monday morning. After I've asked her to dictate the spelling back to me, whatever words that she does not get correct, I will typically write 6 words in here, and sometimes they'll be spelling words, sometimes they'll be sight words. So she'll do the copy work, I'll write the 6 words, she'll copy the words and then draw the picture, and that will be the basis of what we do as far as the book work. And this is all the book work we do when it comes to using the McGuffies, is 1 page of this a day. So she does her 6 spelling words, she copy works, and then I always have her dictate back to me how the words are spelled. This whole thing takes maybe 5 to 8 minutes depending on what she feels like drawing for each of the picture. So that's part of day 1, is reviewing the spelling words, whatever spelling words we need help with. We write them in our lesson book. Then we go and we actually read the story, or we read the lesson. After we read the lesson, let me go back here and I'll show you. We're jumping all over the place here. So after we read the lesson, we're also going to dictate the words and have the children write them. So this is again part of the spelling list in the lesson book I just showed you. We're going to write down the words they need help with in the lesson book. So after you've gone over your spelling list and you read the story, you can then really get a really good grasp on what your spelling list will be for the week, because a lot of these words are simple, but a lot of them are also sight words. Right now she has a hard time distinguishing between new, now, and oh, like those simple sight words, but when you think about it, they're spelled a little bit differently, and so And those are some things that she's working on right now. So that's all you do for the first day. That's it. So we read the lesson, we dictate back, we figure out what words we need help with, and we call it a day. That's it. We're done with pretty much all of our reading, all of our spelling, all of our writing, copy work, dictation in under 15-20 minutes. It very rarely will take longer than that. It honestly will take 10 minutes most days unless there's a lot of dictation to do, or if she wants to get really creative with the pictures she's narrating, then it will take longer. That is what we do every Monday. That's kind of what our new rhythm is. On day 2, we will read the story, and on day 2, this is when we will practice reading the story with expression and then talk about punctuation marks. So this is when you start getting beyond the actual story and beyond the page. So I'm gonna put that there for a minute. So in here, we're going to learn how to read with expression. If there's an exclamation mark, we're going to read it like, oh. So that's a big part that I think is missing too when you're teaching kids to read, is once they know how to read, then it's like, okay, well, let's start learning how to read with expression. And the way the McGuffy Readers does this, and I think so beautifully, is because you are on the same lesson for almost an entire week. If needed, you can always move on quicker, but if needed, you're on the same lesson for an entire week. So by day 2, they're starting to read it like they've already read it once, so they're pretty familiar with it. So then we start learning about reading it with expression. We're gonna learn about the punctuation marks. What is it for? What does it mean when there's a comma? We need to learn how to take a pause when there's a comma because it lets the reader catch up, things like that. And we're going to review again on day 2. We're reviewing our spelling words. And on day 2, whatever spelling words that they did not get correct when they dictate, you go into, I'm going to jump around again here. We go to the second part where we have 6 more words where we need to work on, and then we can narrate those and everything like that. So you've already read your story twice up to this point. We've reviewed punctuation mark, and we're learning to read with expression. That's the main core lesson that we do for Tuesday. So that's Tuesday's theme. On Wednesday, which is day 3, we're going to read the story again. Again, by this point, you should be extremely fluent in the reading. We should be reading it with expression. And then day 3, the core purpose of the third day is copy work. So we're going to pick either a paragraph or a sentence. We talk about what a paragraph is or what a sentence is and the difference between the two. And then we're going to do copy work. She's going to pick a page, and she honestly only does probably 2 to 3 sentences at a time for copy work. So we do copy work after reading the story with expression. Then the other thing that I've been working on intentionally, according to my personal lesson plans for her, is we will find words in the story. So I will say, okay, honey, can you find the word how? So she'll look and like scan it. And I think this is a really good thing too, because once you get to higher grades, you're going to have to be scanning books to find the answer. And this lays a really good foundation for doing that. So I'm like, okay, find the word she. So she quickly scans it. Okay, she. So it's really teaching them how to scan a whole page and to single out a word. And I think that's honestly a really valuable skill to do when it comes to reading bigger stories and bigger books and copy work. And then any new phonograms that come up or any new sounds or anything like that that comes up, that's when you'll also review that. So that's day 3. So that's what pretty much every single Wednesday will look like. When I say like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do average about 4 days of homeschool a week. But sometimes our first day will be on a Tuesday. Sometimes it will be on a Saturday. It's just very, I know you're a homeschooler, so you probably know what I mean. But I'm just giving you what a week solid would look like. Anyway, day 4, we again read the story. Day 4, our main goal is going to be dictation. So we again will open up our lesson book. Let me find a dictation page for you here. We'll open up our lesson book. We will dictate. Now, this is actually something, believe it or not, that we have to actually struggle with in our homeschool, because when we did CLE, there wasn't really any emphasis on dictation. They would orally tell me as far as what their spelling words were, and they would dictate back to me how words were spelled. But when it came to writing out a whole sentence, it wasn't really something that we did up to this point. So this has been actually a struggle for her to get used to me saying a whole sentence, because you have to, with dictation, keep in mind that you have to retain. So say I have her dictate, let me go back over here. Sorry, I'm literally all over the place. So for example, for the dictation on day 4, I have her write, okay, I saw the cat out by the bay, or out by the hay. So she has to write that sentence. So she has to retain what I just said. She has to figure out, okay, there is a comma there because I paused. So where is that comma? Why is the comma needed in that sentence? So again, you're talking about your phonics. You're talking about, why is your punctuation mark so important? And commas are one of the most I feel like important things when it comes to a lot of sentences and how they're written. So for dictation, this has been a struggle for her, but it's so valuable as well because she's having to retain what I just said. Think about it, think about where the comma is. And I will tell her, by the way, she is in just first grade. So I will say, okay, I saw the cat, comma, out by the hay. And so she will then put the comma in, and that's different. And the other thing I also like doing with this as well is I tell my kiddos, I'm like, okay, if they're missing the capital letter or a period at the end, I always tell them, okay, let's self-correct. And by self-correcting, they just go and make sure that they have their uppercase to start the sentence, they have their punctuation marks, everything else is lowercase, so they kind of self-correct their work, and I've taught them to be more independent when it comes to like correcting to make sure it is. And of course, I'm always like going back and reviewing and telling them, okay, what is it that we need to correct? On day 4, that is when we'll do a very, very light version of a spelling test. We will go back at our words from a couple days prior just to make sure we still know them. At this point, we've read the story 4 times. We're very fluent. We're reading it with expression. We know how to spell the words. We know how to dictate the sentences. We are narrating back to me what some of it is about. And then, of course, on day 4 as well, that's also when she does her narrative drawing, about drawing whatever she wants about the dictation part, like whatever sentences she wrote up here, or I had her write, I should say, she then will draw a corresponding photo or a corresponding picture, sorry. On day 5, we will not do the McGuffies. Typically on day 5, 4 days is really all we need, honestly, to cover all the core language arts parts that I am incorporating into our first grade homeschool. I was talking to a mama on Instagram, and she actually mentioned that the lady that wrote this book had a very, very good spelling book, and I remember seeing it, but I was really thankful that she brought it up again, so I went ahead and bought it. So I'm going to be reviewing the same lady, so momdelights.com, her spelling book that is designed specifically for the McGuffey readers and the McGuffey like speller. It's designed to go along with this, but I ended up going ahead and purchasing it off of Amazon, the physical version. So I'm going to review that and possibly incorporate an actual spelling part to it. But if we do the actual spelling part, it's only going to be 1 or 2 days a week. So it's not going to be a huge thing, only because I've found so far anyway in our homeschool journey that this has been sufficient for our spelling. However, the progressive speller that is in McGuffey's, and I'm going to do a designated video on it, is amazing. It's just incredible how quickly you can learn how to spell. Anyway, that is an option too. And then within the speller, you also learn all of your phonics rules and things like that. So I'm going to probably incorporate that along with Sherry's spelling book, which you can also download for free on her momdelights.com website. I just ended up getting a physical copy because I'm kind of in a phase right now where I can't handle any more loose leaves flying around my house, and I don't have a binder right now or a binding machine, so I've just been buying the physical books, and they're extremely affordable. She's so kind to give us mama some just really affordable resources for our kiddos. So that is what we do. Again, 4 days a week when it comes to the McGuffies. We're touching pretty much every single part of language arts: reading, narration, dictation, spelling, writing, just like so many beautiful aspects within it. And I love the stories, and it's just so much fun. So the other thing that we're doing along with the McGuffies is just like a phonics mastery explode the code. This is something more fun for her. She enjoys this so much. Oh my goodness. She will fly through the lessons. She's gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, let's stop and put this away and move on, because she would just do this until the book was gone probably. But she's been loving this, and again, I'm going to get the 1.5 one. We'll start that after Christmas, and then by the summer she'll be into probably the number 2. So she's been loving these, and it is a great little addition to go with the McGuffies, because again, you're working on the phonics. And when I incorporate that actual spelling book, because I do really want to, I've looked at it, it's beautiful. I can't wait for it to get in so I can show you guys. But I think I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that. And when I do incorporate the spelling, I am going to cut back Explode the Code to only being 2 days a week, and then spelling 2 days a week. I don't want to put her in the spelling worksheets plus Explode the Code plus this, because then it kind of defeats my purpose of wanting something small and mighty and short and sweet and simple. But also, again, being powerful and packs a punch, which I mentioned in my first video. So we're going to rotate Explode the Code with the actual McGuffey spelling when that does get in. I think I'm talking myself into doing that right now, unless she absolutely wants to do this. But this is going to turn into an optional resource for her once we start the actual spelling, because the spelling again does go along with the actual McGuffey. I would like to keep everything that is designed to go along with the primer. I would like to keep everything within the same you know, the same field of things. That way they all blend together, even though this is a wonderful addition to that. That's my thinking anyway, is when that gets in, I'll cut this back to just being an optional if she wants to do it every day. Otherwise, I'll wait 2 days a week for that. I will also recommend getting the parent teacher guide. I think I mentioned that already in my first initial why we made the switch video, but I love it. It is a quick glimpse onto what your core kind of ideas are behind each lesson. So starting on lesson 12, for example, your main core in your primer is going to be to play safely and courteously. So the next one, lesson 13, God helps the sick. Use good manners. Anyway, it's just a really hi. What is it? What? So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how we use the McGuffies and kind of seeing what I do every single day when it comes to using the primer for my first grader. We've been loving it. I love how simple and sweet it is. And then I think the biggest thing for me when it comes to liking something, I'm always like, okay, well, why do I love this so much? Why is it so different from other things? And it's not necessarily a me thing. It's all like the students, like what are they doing? How are they feeling when we're homeschooling? What is their mood like when we're homeschooling? And it's now a pleasant experience. Whereas, and I feel like if you have, and this is not to say that it's curriculum is always to blame, because it's 100% not the case all the time. Like we should never just blame the curriculum when something is not working, or maybe if there's an attitude issue and we just don't want to do school and things like that. So that's always a good thing to keep at the forefront of our mind. But if we know it's not an attitude thing, and if we know a curriculum is causing frustration and issues and struggles, and then changing that and see your child actually look forward to school, and when we say, hey, it's time for school, they're there and ready to go, is just like, it's been wonderful. And that's kind of what we've seen with our first grader. Is it used to be this like dread, like great, I've got to do like 15 worksheets of stuff, because the worksheets are a lot. And then this is just so simple and sweet and short, and yet again very powerful in the way it teaches language arts. So we've been loving it. We really have. So when it comes to December, I'm actually not going to talk about this too much, because my husband and I are going to be doing an end of the year recap, where we're going to be talking about everything that has happened in 2023, our highs and lows of just the year in general, as well as sharing with you guys some of our 2024 like kind of like aspirations and goals and things that we would like to see for our family. We're going to be doing that, and the first part of the video will be like a Q&A type format, and then we'll be doing like the goals and aspirations. I don't know if it'll be the same video, because it'll probably be a very long video if I combine them, so I might make a part 1 and part 2. Anyway, that's the beginning of the year. It's going to be in a Q&A form, so if you do have any questions, feel free to either ask below or jump over to my community tab, and I have like a little thing on there that you can ask below, or shoot me a message on Instagram, which is the same handle as my YouTube. So homeschooling in December, this is my very first Christmas season as a homeschool mama where I have not done anything extra, and I don't know how I feel about it, to be perfectly honest, because again, I think there's that magical sense of doing all the crafts and doing all the unit studies and just doing all the fun things. But this year specifically, because this year was a very unforeseen, incredibly busy year for us, very unforeseen, and it's just been a really busy season. Again, we'll talk about that in that upcoming video, but we didn't really feel the pull or the need to find something to keep us even more busy when it comes to doing anything apart from our core workbook stuff. And again, it's my first year not doing anything fun and special for the Christmas season or the unit study, and part of me kind of regrets not doing some type of unit study, but I think a lot of that regret comes from not me personally wishing I would have done it, but from seeing all these gorgeous Christmas schooling type posts and videos on social media and stuff, and it's easy to get sucked in and feel like kind of like you're missing out, or you don't want your kids to miss out. And this year I did actually ask my kiddos what they wanted to do for Christmas as far as either Christmas crafts. I asked them if they even enjoyed doing our Christmas unit studies before. We've done the gather around one. It might have been campfire curriculum in the previous years. I don't know, it's something. And then we've always done just a ton of Christmas crafts, mostly when it comes to making like salt dough ornaments and different salt dough figurines. One of their favorite things to do though, and this was something that was kind of realization to me when it came to being slowing down and stop focusing on anything other than the core things, because ultimately it's like I had to ask myself, do my kids even want to sit down and do more book work or school work? Because most of the actual like unit studies that I came across, even though they were beautiful, would require the student to do more workbook things. And I was like, well, I could just replace it with this, but because we were getting our feet wet a little bit in this curriculum, I wanted to stay focused on just doing the core and then not worry about all the extra things. I don't know. I decided to just stay with what we were trying to figure out in our own family instead of doing the extra Christmas things. And I actually asked them, all that to say is I asked them what they wanted to either learn about, what they wanted to do. They didn't want to do any unit studies anyway, because I knew they had a really good time with the unit studies last year, but they were just like, I don't want to do more school and like, things like that. Like, that is a wonderful way to look at it, because a unit study, as beautiful as it is, to them sometimes it is a little bit more like school, even though for us it's more of that magical type thing. So yeah, all that to say is we did not do any type of Christmas anything this year as far as our homeschool. We again just kept it to the core curriculum. And I just wanted to share this too, that I kind of fell down a little bit of a rabbit hole feeling like I was missing out because of all the beautiful Christmas schooling, and every curriculum has their own Christmas unit study, of thinking that, well, this must be, if everyone has it, it must be something that we need to do in order to make that magical Christmas experience for our children, especially when we're homeschooling, is we want to make it, that beautiful experience for them. And one thing that I asked my kiddos this year is, specifically what they wanted to do, and asked them their opinion on what they wanted to like play or learn and anything like that. And it was honestly just board games, drinking hot chocolate. What was the other one that my second grader had? We've been driving around looking at lights like 5 times now with popcorn. Things like that. That's really just their core memory of what they wanted to do, because we did that a lot last year, and that's what they wanted to do this year, and it didn't have anything to do with the unit study or all the beautiful Christmas things. And so yeah, I wanted to share that it's okay if you also are in the same boat and didn't do any fun like Christmas unit studies in your homeschool, because my kiddos didn't miss it, and I feel like a part of me feels like they're missing out because this, again, our first year not doing it. Anyway, I could do this whole circular reasoning thing and going around and around. Anyway, all that to say is we've kept our Christmas season very short and simple and sweet without adding in anything extra, and I'm very thankful for that, because I don't think I could do anything extra apart from getting the core things done, because we have had a busy month. So anyway, I am excited again to film that Q&A with my husband. We'll get that up in the next month. And then a couple of other videos that I had planned and they just didn't get done in time, honestly, is for one, this video was one they've been wanting to do for a while, but I'm going to do the McGuffey spelling flip through, as I mentioned earlier. My husband and I are going to probably start doing some more videos together. So in the beginning of the year, we had that Q&A. We're going to be talking about our 2023 recap, our 2024 goals, some more like family budgeting, family finance, how we make that work, investment property type stuff as well, and how we kind of do that a little bit. So I'm really excited to have him more on my channel for 2024, because he's extremely knowledgeable when it comes to all that stuff, and can give you guys some really good just kind of tips and advice when it comes to being on a budget, and how we've saved money over the years, or things that we pick and choose not to do and things to do. And then we're also going to be talking about just like overall parenting from a biblical perspective, biblical marriage, and just like all those fun things I'm just so excited to be diving in and talking to him about, as well as maybe even some like cultural topics. I'm not sure yet, so I'm not sure what the year will hold. All I know is I am very excited about it. Anyway, today's video is actually my last video of 2023. I will see you guys in the new year. I do want to thank every single one of you guys for being here this year, for supporting me by watching my videos. I greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next year. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless.